Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information.
This is your last call for My Wife the Dietitian. The show is just about to start.
Come on, let's go. Hurry up.
I'm trying. I can't get my shoe on.
Ah, yes, it's that time of year again. Chaos of summer is winding down, and it's time to send the littles back to school. It's a time of transition for many people, and it's also a great time to start new routines. Today we're going to give you a helping hand by discussing some meal plan strategies, some creative lunch ideas, and how to get your kids off on the right foot with their back-to-school lunches. Stick around.
Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Rob.
How's it going?
What do we say?
I know. I was like tongue-tied. I'm like, I've done this a million times, and I turned my microphone on. I'm like, I forgot what I have to say.
I think because it's like the last heat wave at the end of summer, and it's hot in here.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really interesting episode, the things that we say and don't say and what actually comes out of our brain here. So
out of our mouth.
Well, yeah, see, I've already screwed up.
Yeah.
Confused.
And we were talking about back to school because in 3 days.
Oh, people don't want to know. Well, it won't be 3 days when they hear this.
Right.
Because it's Friday for us. So yeah, 3-4 days. But when people hear this, it'll be like tomorrow.
And it won't be a
school.
TGIF. TGIF.
Yeah, it'll be, thank God. Thank God they're going back to school. But also it's a lot more work for parents sometimes, and just the hustle bustle. And depending on how you are with your summer, a lot of people just like, summer is like the Wild West.
Free for all.
Free for all. There's no schedule. Some people are off work. It's just this like fun chaos kind of time. And then it's back to like super structured. You got to have food in the fridge. You pack lunches, and it's like, craziness.
That's right. That's so true. Or some kids are going off to school. Or some kids are just starting school if they're in starting kindergarten.
The wee ones.
Yeah, the wee ones.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like the whole gamut, right? It's just, it's a change for everybody. And I think there's a ripple effect, like everyone feels it. Not just because even like driving around town, school zones, it's like, oh, okay, it's back to school. And there's, the rush hour of the drop off and...
Totally.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and we've said this before, September is one of those times of year where it's like New Year's Day, where it's a start of something. It's people get into new routines and new habits and it feels like the start.
Yeah, it's totally the start.
It's good to start on the right foot with your lunch prepping and meal prepping and all the things we're going to talk about for back to school and making it a happy time.
Yeah, totally. Because we're back to routine. As you said, a lot of times people are off in August. And so it's like getting back to structure in September. And so we want to make things a bit easier and help people with ideas for, meal prep and meal planning and batch cooking and lunches. We're going to end with some 10 different DIY lunch ideas for parents and their kids. And also just the idea of like sleep, it's so important. I know we've done an episode on sleep.
Episode 16 or 15, way back. One of those was the dentist, the teeth one, and one was sleep. So One was 15 and one was 16. Sanders is going to have a quick check here, so we'll just...
You nailed it. Episode 16,
There you
sleep
go.
problems and diet more than just caffeine.
Yes. If you sleep well, it helps your memory, apparently.
Yeah, it's a house cleaning for the brain.
Oh, there you go.
We did a nutrition nuggets on sleep recently.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. That's funny.
Sleep is a big part of it because it sets the stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. For your whole day.
For the whole day. And if you've been sleeping in because it's summer, and if you sleep in like, Labor Day weekend, like every day on Labor Day weekend, and then all of a sudden you have to get up super early on your first day back to school or helping the kids get off to school, that's probably not going to be helpful.
And it's not just like getting up and having your leisurely cup of coffee. It's getting up and being on. And, okay, we got to do this. We got to eat breakfast. We got to pack lunch. We got to get your clothes together and find your socks and all those kind of things. So it can be hectic. And, yeah, so it's good to kind of warm up to the whole sleep, like maybe a week before. Start getting into the routine of going to bed early and getting up early. And
yeah, it's good for everybody, really, because it helps with, concentration for learning and their attention span. And as you mentioned, memory and just the cognitive functions. So well-rested students basically retain more information, and it's better for their growth and development, all those things.
Exactly.
And, we're getting back to school. So we want to maintain our immune function, everybody, because when kids all gather again and get back into closed spaces, that's when, everyone starts getting colds and viruses and all that. So we want to make sure that, sleep is a big part of just healthy immune system and physical health and
exactly
how they can feel and their mood and everything. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to mention, is just trying to get into a better schedule and sleep hygiene. But back to school routine. So, we're getting into the kitchen, and hopefully you have some an idea for the first week back to school in terms of meal prep and groceries and stuff like that. Because that's a big part of it, is just the planning, right?
The planning and having everything on hand makes everything so much easier if you can just open your fridge and you have a lot to choose from.
Yeah. And we did an episode called, it was Nutrition Nuggets 26, Meal Prep, I believe it was called. And another one on episode 120, What's for Dinner. So those are good to listen to, because some ideas about like different meal ideas to get your juices flowing, creative juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned to have like your groceries, like kind of have the staples in the pantry and the fridge. Also, remember to try to bring your kids, involve the kids in maybe one of the grocery shops on the weekend to help with picking out some good vegetables and fruits that they might want to try. And then they're more likely to eat them.
Mm-hmm. Because packing a lunch is kind of like a production line if you have everything you need. Mm-hmm. You grab some fruit, you make a sandwich, you grab a yogurt, you grab a granola bar, you grab a thing of crackers, you grab some cut up veggies or whatever. But if you don't have all that stuff, or you don't have it prepped, then it becomes a chore. And you don't want to be doing that at 7 a.m. when you're trying to get ready for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
You just want to grab and go.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Is that the...
Makes sense.
Kinda? Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, like having tools too, like lunch boxes or, like the lunch ice pack and like the bento boxes, and just having containers so that, they have something to put the food into, or you can put the food in there for them. Mm-hmm. And the tools in the kitchen to make the food. So you want to have maybe if you're batch cooking, then the slow cooker, right? So batch cooking different ingredients. So if you cook a bunch of quinoa or brown rice or oatmeal, like those things, you can batch cook those, and then you can add those into the lunches, like you said, the production line.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be like could be a leftover too. Like, so if you have dinner the night before and then you have extra grain product, like a whole grain, like the brown rice or quinoa or barley or any of those, that would be a good thing to add if you had some sort of like a Buddha bowl type of meal for lunch.
Yeah. And you can do that intentionally. Like, just, we always say that if you're cooking rice or pasta or potatoes or anything like that, always cook extra, because it's just next day's meal. It's just that much less work you have to do the next day if it's already cooked and ready for you. And then you're getting the benefit of the resistant starches as well.
I was just going to say, did you remember it? That was episode 122, resistant starch. Yeah.
So those
exactly.
resistant starches are very beneficial. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah. And for example of a resistant starch, the white pasta that you might cook the night before, the next day after it's been cooled and then reheated, or even just cooled and used in a salad, that acts in your system, in the bloodstream, like a whole wheat pasta. It reduces the glycemic index of the pasta, the resistant starch, because it's resisting digestion, and it's really good. So it actually helps. It's like it just helps the whole system. So it's something to include, and don't feel weird about using leftover grains.
Yeah, for sure.
Or even batch cooking them to have those things. Quinoa is the same, and brown rice and oatmeal.
Mm-hmm. I talked to someone, we might have talked about this one time, but someone who said that they use oatmeal the way they use rice, and they'll like put soy sauce on it and hot sauce and mix it up with veggies and stuff. And I thought, ew, weird. And I thought, well, maybe not. Why not? I'm the one who usually has
I
a weird...
I was going to say, you said, oh, weird? That's
yeah,
odd.
well, just because it's something that I'm just so used to having oatmeal as my breakfast with more of a sweet and, with raisins and fruit and stuff. But I never thought of having it instead of rice the way you'd use rice. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. And so the other thing, so batch cooking the grains, it's good to have like extra rice or extra pasta or extra potatoes, all those things you talked about. So vegetables, if we want to get people in the family to eat more vegetables, how does that happen?
I think you have to include them in the whole process of buying them, choosing them, cutting them, peeling them, whatever's involved. And then they're more likely to eat them if they're involved in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, one client had a really good idea. She said she got her family eating more vegetables by having them cut up and ready to eat and then put in the door of the fridge. So there was like containers, like different colored containers of like celery and carrots. And
I'd be all over that.
I know.
Yeah, I've
Great
done that.
idea.
I mean, anytime we have those kind of veggies, like you get the little cucumbers or the little tomatoes or anything where someone's cut it up and left it, and it's just, you open the fridge and it's ready to put in your mouth. Yeah, you're more likely to eat it.
Absolutely.
Because there's like zero work involved. You just grab it and eat it.
I know. And I think that's the barrier with a lot of people eating vegetables. It's just like, well, it's so much work to like wash them and cut them and peel them and all that. But if they're already done, so that's a big thing. And having the containers in the fridge with all of the cut up vegetables is a great strategy. Some you can't do, obviously, because they'll go bad pretty quickly, but a lot of vegetables will keep for a couple days in the fridge that way.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's tons of ideas on like Pinterest and YouTube about how and what, to cut up, how to store them, where to put them, color code your vegetables in your fridge. Like there's everything. It can be a little overwhelming, but there's tons of ideas anyway. So check that out if you need some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And the protein part. So what do people like for the protein at their lunch? Maybe could be marinated extra, like the chicken. It's already cooked from the night before, or on the weekend, you cook a bunch of chicken breasts and have that cut up and ready to add to lunch boxes for the week. Or the same thing with meat or eggs, like cook a dozen eggs and have hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, those are easy for lunches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or those, in the muffin tin, if you do like little omelets. So you add like the egg and the vegetables and the cheese, and you mix it all, and then you pour it into muffin tins and bake it. And then you can either put it in the freezer or the fridge for quick little grab and go omelets.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, that's actually in one of the 10 that I was going to mention at the end.
That's a
here.
total Pinterest thing, but it's still a pretty cool idea.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. A lot of people use that, I think. So, yeah, just making sure you've got some grains that are cooked up. You've got some sort of the veggies that are all ready to eat. Also, we didn't mention about like pan roasting veggies, because that's a good way to have a whole bunch of veggies that are ready to add to your meals. And they might be already cooked, like roasted red pepper and garlic and onions and those kind of things. So that would add some flavor and some variety for the vegetable in their lunch.
Mm-hmm. Are you, so you make them and stick them in the fridge for the next day kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or for the next few days.
Right.
Yeah, because they'll keep like that for a while.
Yeah, and they're tasty too.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people use like a crock pot to like batch cook some stews and soups. And that's always, it's hard to even think about it right now because it's so warm out right now. But, we come into the fall, and it will be that time of year for like the warm and cozy soups and stews.
Yeah, and the benefit of a stew or a soup is that you're getting everything kind of in one bowl or jar or however you store it. It's like all your nutrition in one go. So
yeah,
it might be easier for some people.
Yeah,
as far
absolutely.
as packing their lunch.
Yeah, in a
hey, just bring a thermos of soup.
That's right.
Casserole or whatever it is, right? And yeah.
Actually, that was one of my ideas too. Is you could have like tomato soup or like a lentil soup, and also fingers of grilled cheese sandwiches that were cooked the night before.
Fingers.
Yeah, that you can dip. So that would be like a sandwich dipper.
I wonder what that would be like. It'd be like leftover pizza, I guess. Like cold grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea.
No, and that's another one actually. Mini pizzas. Did you have those when you were a kid?
Oh, the little round things? Do you stick them in a toaster or whatever?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, English muffins.
You're not a real kid unless you've eaten those things.
That's right.
We used to eat them by the box full.
Yeah, and those can go for lunch. So like the English muffin with the sauce on it and veggies and some sort of protein and cheese. So that's another one that's on the list here for 10 do-it-yourself lunch ideas for lunches for kids. For adults too.
Adults who still like to eat like kids.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to eat like that? It's fun.
That's right. Yep. And I already mentioned the mini omelets. So those are we talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just bake those for 15, 20 minutes in an oven at 350. And then you can just remove them and put them in the fridge or freezer. And it's grab and go.
Perfect.
Could be breakfast or lunch.
Nice.
Yeah. And then also another one would be pancakes would be okay for, having for lunch, especially if you use, less sugar in the batch and use maybe whole grains or buckwheat flour or different flours. So you can get creative with the pancakes, and then dipping in maybe a little container of yogurt. So they can have that at lunch, pancakes and yogurt. Or dip it into, maybe there's like, maple syrup and then some fruit on the side there.
Yeah, there you go.
So that would be a fun lunch. And then there's some other ideas like the burrito bowl or Buddha bowl or whatever. And that would be a combination, right, with the grain. So it's maybe rice, brown rice, and some veggies like peppers, onions, corn, lettuce, some sour cream, some guacamole, some salsa, and maybe some beans in there too.
Yummy.
So getting the plant-based proteins into the kids' meals sometimes, like the different beans, pinto beans, black beans.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that would be tasty too, like a Mexican kind of flavor.
Well, you could do like little mini burritos too. You could do like you make a burrito and then you cut it up like sushi. So like they're like little rolls, right?
Yeah, Mexican pinwheels. That's the next one.
I'm reading your mind here.
You totally are. Yeah, it could be Mexican. It could be like any kind of like, depending on the spices you use and what flavors you're adding there. But yeah, you could do that with peanut butter and jam, or you could do it with refried beans and cheese and veggies.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And that might be a good one to cook. Melt the cheese and then put it in the fridge, and then you eat them cold, and it's all stuck together because of the cheese, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, these are sounding good.
You're getting hungry, eh?
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. No, that'd be awesome. Other things would be like pasta salads. So if you've got I'm thinking like a Greek salad, but with pasta.
Mm-hmm.
So the feta cheese, and then little bits of chicken and cucumber, tomato and onions, and the olives, and then the rotini pasta.
Nice. Yeah, for sure.
That would be good too. Yeah. And meatballs. That's one that we've been using sometimes. It could be chicken or turkey or beef. And then with the buffalo sauce in there, and then some carrots and celery sticks to add.
Our son has been using meatballs in a variety of different ways. He like we've mentioned before, he's a really good cook in the kitchen and pretty creative. And he'll either like make this like a burrito with meatballs and stuff in it, or he'll make a full stir fry with a whole bunch of stuff and meatball. He's using them in all different ways, but it's always really tasty looking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they're easy. I mean, they're just heat them and eat them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or you can make your own with whatever ground, like turkey or the veggie ground round, or however you make meatballs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A couple more, and then we've covered lots here. Kebab.
A kebab.
Yeah. So if you think of deconstructing a sandwich and using skewers, and so if you skewer the little bit of chicken or ham or turkey, and the veggies and the cheese, and then maybe little cubes of whole wheat bread.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like a little sandwich, but on a
sharp stick. Yeah, it's probably not preschool friendly, but maybe for older kids.
You're funny.
Maybe they think it's a weapon though. You might have to like saw the end off the stick so it's not sharp.
Right.
But yeah, no, I like that idea. That's it makes it a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe save that one for like February when the kids are really bored of their lunches, and throw some of those in.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Special occasion.
I know. I bet people like start out the year like with a different lunch every day, and it's all like just Pinterest quality. And then by November, December, it's like
more like October.
Peanut butter and jam sandwiches every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
We're like October. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, one more, and that's the DIY Lunchable. So it's kind of like the bento box, and maybe you have like cubes of chicken, and then whole wheat pita, little triangles with some veggies, whatever veggies kids like the tomatoes, the baby, like the cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and then maybe some fruit in there. I said cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then maybe a dip like hummus, or some sort of like yogurt dip like tzatziki.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to have a sandwich. I think people think lunch has to be based around sandwiches, and they run out of ideas about what kind of sandwich to have, but lunch just has to be food that you're going to eat, and it doesn't have to be a sandwich. So yeah, you could have a little pile of veggies and a little pile of crackers and a little pile of almonds and all these different things, and you're getting all your nutrients from all those different things, and it's going to fill you up, but it isn't your traditional lunch sandwich.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I remember years ago we made sushi for dinner, And your dad looked at it and says, well, this is like the appetizer. What are we going to eat for dinner? And because it doesn't seem like, you know, like a meat and potatoes kind of dinner where it's like a main course, but everything's in it. If you think about it, you've got all your nutrients and your veggies and your grains and your, you know, everything is in the sushi. It's just not traditional.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's just, a different way to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I find that when I eat like that, it makes making lunch a lot easier because I don't have to think in terms of a main course. I just think in terms of, I'll put a pickle on my plate and I'll have some tomato and I'll have some almonds and I'll have some crackers and I'll have some cottage cheese. And, you know, you're just collecting little bits of everything. And it's like, well, there's a full plate of food. You know, it's not like your standard main course, but it's enough food to fill me. And yeah, it's just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's like a buffet.
Exactly, which I love, but I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure lots of people just like to eat. And really, that's kind of how a lot of kids like to eat anyway. It's just like they nibble on things, you know. It's if you give them a full sandwich, they're probably only going to eat half of it anyway.
True. Yeah, that's true.
So variety is maybe your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, if you think of the plate ratio, then that helps guide like what foods to think or what foods to use. You know, with the veggies, half the plate veggies and then quarter plate protein and a quarter starch. Mm-hmm. So just to keep that in mind when you're building lunches and dinners.
Yeah. And those bento boxes Sandra mentioned, those are pretty awesome. We didn't have those when I was growing up, but I really like the concept because it's not a whole bunch of little plastic bags. It's not a whole bunch of little Tupperware containers you're going to lose. It's like everything's like, it's like a fishing tackle box with all these little compartments in it, and you just fill them all with food, and then it all goes in a cooler bag, and I think it's just like a tray, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, less likely that they're going to lose an entire tray. I'm sure it can happen. But anyway, and then it comes home and you wash it and you fill all the little compartments the next day with all the little different things. And I think kids probably think it's fun, you know, especially really young kids, because it looks like a little, I don't know. It's just, it's fun. It's a fun way to eat, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Something else to mention too is if you're dealing with young kids, it's really important at a young age to try to encourage them to be part of the whole process of shopping, picking foods, getting them to pack their own lunches, identifying foods that they like, getting them to help make and prep the food, like everything. They're more likely to eat it. They're more likely to be a good eater, not a picky eater. And then that just makes your life so much easier as they get older, because if you're really limited, if your options in terms of food are really limited because your child's a picky eater, it can be a nightmare, you know, because they're just going to grow up being that way. So nip it in the bud. So for the families with young kids, don't be afraid to start them when they're 5 years old, going into kindergarten, you know, getting them pack their own lunch. It can work. We did that with our kids when they were pretty young, and it works, and they loved it. It was a fun experience for them. It made them feel independent, and they ate everything they put in there because they packed it. Yeah,
they knew it was in there, and it didn't come home as often as when we packed it.
Mm-hmm. You got it. Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. So hopefully that gives you some ideas for healthy lunches for kids going back to school, and also for adults. I mean, anyone can use these ideas.
You got it. So thanks for joining us today. If you want more information about what we're doing or just different ideas all about nutrition, healthy eating, healthy living, that sort of thing, check out our website. We've got lots going on there. We've got an amazing blog. We've got a weekly newsletter you can subscribe to and get some different recipes, different weekly tips, information on what's going on, that sort of thing. And that is all at mywifethedietitian.com. You can also email us if you have questions or you want us to answer a question on the show. That's something we're happy to do. So you drop us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Feel free to reach out to us there, or just give us a like or subscribe or thumbs up or a heart or smiley face. They're all welcome. We love hearing any feedback you guys have. It's super helpful for us. So please do that. Also, please share. Share with your friends, share with your neighbors, share with your family. They all want to hear what's good for them. And don't forget to rate and review the show. That's super helpful to us and also for people looking for a good show to listen to. So all of those will be much appreciated. We will be back on Wednesday with Nutrition Nuggets, and then next week, again, with a full episode. So until then, have a great week, everyone, and enjoy your little back-to-school adventures. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.